Hi legends, can we still get a bounce here to the upside to go and claim that $62,700 level before we potentially take the low again? Today we'll analyze the price of Bitcoin and go and look at that high confluence levels where we could potentially expect a bounce here, maybe to go and claim the high at $62,700 again before we go and take the low. Also remember legends, the three exchanges that I use to do my daily trading is under exchanges, Bluffin, no KYC required, and up to an $80,000 bonus depending on how much you deposit and trade. You only qualify for these deals with the lowest fees and the biggest sign-up bonuses by using the links down in the description. It costs you nothing extra. Let's go and analyze the price of Bitcoin together. Looking at Bitcoin on the 1 hour time frame, I just want to discuss this structure here today. Okay, obviously we have a low of the structure over here, okay, where I've taken a fib from the low to the high that we've made here at that $700,000 level that I've just mentioned during the introduction. And now we have, which looks like a three-wave structure here to the upside. The question is, okay, this structure, like I mentioned yesterday during my live stream, this structure here does not look impulsive to the downside. A lot of people are counting this as a 1-2, 1-2, but this retracement went way too deep to be a double 1-2 combo here to the downside to have a third wave explosion where we perform another 4-5, 4-5 and go and claim the low once again. So at the moment, looking at this structure, this consolidation area over here still looks corrective to the downside and not impulsive to the downside. Therefore, increasing the probabilities that we can go and bounce here at the 382, 50%, 618, and further down the 786 level to go and claim the local high over here at $62,700 first, before we take the low here to the downside. What I do want to highlight is if we do get a bounce from one of these important fib levels here to the downside and we go and take this high over here, then we'll analyze the situation, because there is another probability that states once we've taken the high, we can definitely still come and take the low over here. But for now, looking at the structure over here, it does look like the probabilities are slightly higher for us to go and claim the high first before we go and claim the low, based on the corrective structure that I've just highlighted over here. Another thing that I would like to point out on the structure is that you can see taking a fib from the low to the high over here, we have not bounced on any major fib level just as yet. The 0.382 is usually considered a minimum bouncing area, and we are currently getting a little bit of a pump here to the upside, small little pump here to the upside, without hitting any of these major fib levels here to the downside. At a minimum, what I would expect is for price to move down, hit the fib level. There's also a nice confluence with each Fibonacci level to the downside. At the 0.382, we have a naked point of control that can definitely help to give us that bounce here to the upside. So at a minimum, what I expect over here is for price to find weakness, come down, get acceptance back above this level over here to go and potentially claim this high once again at $62,700. Also, what is interesting to note about the structure is that at the 50% fib level, we also have a daily level. At the 0.618, we also have a daily level. And then, which we regard as a maximum target for continuation here to the downside, the 786 also has confluence with a weekly point of control. Okay, so for now, based on the structure that I'm seeing over here, the probabilities are still higher, depending on whether we get a bounce by the 382, the 50%, the 618, or the 786 as a maximum target to first go and claim the high before we potentially go and claim the low once again. Another thing I would like to highlight over here is that we have front run some of these Fibonacci levels with this momentum here to the upside. When I take a fib from the low to the high that we formed over here, we were all waiting for this 0.382 level to be hit over here, and we did not tap it. We made a shallow retracement and we got momentum here back to the upside. So all I'm trying to highlight over here is that there's definitely a possibility, okay, because the market is here to surprise us, that we can front run any of these levels and start getting continuation here to the upside. And for this, what I'm tracking over here is two levels that I would like to see us get acceptance back above. The first level that I'm tracking over here is a previous day value area low, okay? So when you switch on your session volume profile, okay, and I know this is getting a little bit technical, but just, just to try and make sense of it over here, is that the previous day value area low that I have marked out over here, if we find the strength to break inside here, get acceptance back above, inside the value area low of the previous day, we do increase the probabilities that we can go and tap the value area high of the previous day again. Okay. Question is, are we going to make a lower high and then fall down and perhaps then go and tap an important fib level here to the downside, okay, where the price is rolling over down here? Or are we going to break inside here, get acceptance back above, front run, okay, an important fib level, and go and claim the high before we tap the fib level here for the first time? Another scenario that I'm tracking here is, and I need to zoom into the 15-minute time frame and just show everyone, when I zoom into this price action over here and I switch on my trend lines, you can see that I'm tracking the momentum here to the downside, okay? Because there's always that possibility that you could get a front run, okay, and break out here like we're doing here at the moment. But we also have to remember that we are now back testing, okay, this big bull flag. So if I zoom out just to show everyone this big bull flag that I'm currently still tracking here, okay, there's definitely the possibility where you lose the level, you back test it, and you find continuation to the downside. And this is why I'm also tracking this momentum. And I don't see any significant green volume kicking in here on the 15-minute time frame. So zooming back in here, just take the scribble out the way. The one thing that is a little bit concerning about this mini breakout here from this diagonal trend is that there's just no volume supporting the breakout here yet to the upside. And this is where I'm keeping an eye on this previous day value area low. I want to see us break through here and get acceptance back inside this range for continuation to the upside. Or we could just reject here, okay, have a fake out, leave those wicks behind, and find continuation here to the downside, where I'm looking at this area that I've just identified on the higher time frame. Another thing that I would like to point out is when I look at CVD and I'm here on the 1 hour time frame, okay, you often hear me talk about bearish and bullish CVD between specific pivots. When I take my tool over here, okay, you can see between this pivot and where price action is at the moment, we're making a higher low over here, okay, taking it against this pivot. And then on CVD, when I take it down against this pivot on yellow, we are making lower lows. Also on white, we are making lower lows, which increases the probabilities that the highest point between the two pivots over here is usually the target for the bullish CVD that's continuously building up here, right? So there's definitely a possibility, looking at those fib levels that I've just identified, if price finds momentum here to the downside, I can just imagine that CVD will be aggressively forming here to the downside, which increases the probabilities of coming to take this high, which is the target between the bullish CVD. But it's not to say that it has to turn around over here where it is at the moment, okay? As price is going to move down here, I can just imagine that bullish CVD will be forming more aggressively here to the downside, increasing that probability for us to come and take the high before we take the low. Remember, legends, this is all just a game of probabilities, and although the probabilities are higher to go and take the local high again before the low, the market is here to surprise us, and that is why we trade with good risk management. Thank you so much for watching. Smash up the like if you enjoy the alpha over here. Hit subscribe for future notifications, and until the next one, cheers for now.